Hello everyone, my name is Sean Gresh. I'll be teaching personal branding. You've just signed up for it. I look forward to meeting you all, at least by phone, and I look forward to helping you develop your brand, strengthen your brand, understanding more about a brand. And what I'm going to do in the next 6 to 8 minutes is to outline my expectations for you for the course, tell you a little bit about my background and the approach that I'm taking in the course on personal branding. I've been teaching here at Northeastern University for the last 4 years, and I've enjoyed it. It's just a great place to be, and the students are terrific, and it's just been a lot of fun. So let me begin. First of all, let me just say that, introduce myself. I started out as a reporter for Newsweek magazine many years ago. I then went on to get a doctorate from Columbia. I worked at a couple universities. I taught, and then later I got into industry, and I was a speechwriter for about 25 years. And the last position I had was an executive speechwriter at IBM. So that's my background. I've also written a couple books, and I've worked on a couple bestsellers for an author out of New York. So that's my background in a nutshell. So let me just say a couple other things. I want to start with a story about personal branding. About a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, one of my former students at Emerson College wrote to me, and she asked, "Sean, do you remember me?" And we got into a discussion online, and it turns out that she said that I said something to her at the end of a class that changed her life. And here's what I said. She reported this to me because I had forgotten. She said, "You said to me that if someone can learn how to write well, speak well, and be a good listener, he or she can pretty much do anything." And it turns out what she did is she went on to become a writer. She became an expert in the area of social media, and she is considered by Forbes magazine to be one of the top 3 experts in the country on social media marketing. She's an outstanding writer, and one of her books, which is a bestseller in the Wall Street Journal, is one of your textbooks, and it's called Everyone Writes. And the whole focus of that book is to concentrate in all your writing and all your communication with quality. And I think you'll find it's a good reference book, it's practical, etc. That's one of the books that you'll be reading. And so the story is really important because, as you will find out, and I have a presentation that I have up online for the first week, that branding is how you present yourself to the world. It's what you believe in, what you stand for, the values that you have, and the way you interact with people, the community, and so forth. And in the day and age that we're in now, it's very important to be able to reach out to larger and larger audiences because we have the capability of doing that, and it's necessary. The 3 other books that you'll be reading for the course, one of them is a great book. It's by Tom Standish, who is an editor at The Economist. And it's a book, it's a funny title, it seems kind of strange. It's titled Writing on the Wall, Social Media, the First 2,000 Years. And the reason why I gave you that book, first of all, it's a great book to give you the context of social media today, personal branding actually. But it starts out by BC, and in the first couple of centuries, and it talks about how we as human beings are connected socially and how important that is, and how that has not very much changed over the years. The technology has changed. It's enabled us to reach out to more and more people, but some of the basic principles of who we are as human beings remain the same. Things have changed because of the technology and so forth, but many of the same things that are going on today with regard to social media, whether it be a Facebook, a Twitter account, a blog, are things that went on in the first century. And so I want you to get into a discussion in the next couple of weeks about what you're learning in that particular book, and I want you to see how that relates to what's happening today. And I think you'll be very surprised as you go through the book and see also how relevant that book is. Now, another book that I want you to read, and we'll be discussing it in depth, and this is probably the key book for the course. It's a book by Dorie Clark, who is a communication consultant, and she's been her work's been featured in Harvard Business Review and many, many publications, and she's given talks around the world on branding, on communication. The title of her book is Stand Out, and it's called How to Find Your Breakthrough Idea and Build a Following Around It. So the first couple weeks of the course, I'll be asking you to answer questions about what you believe to be your strengths, what areas you're pursuing, etc. And then we'll lead up to how you can then share what your interests are, etc. with a larger audience. So the course, I plan this course as being a very practical course, a hands-on course, if you will. And by the way, one of the most important things about the course is the fact that you and I will play two separate roles, and we'll exchange on those roles. I'm a teacher, so therefore I'll be pointing out some things from my experience, some insights I have. But I also will be learning from you, so I'll be a student as well, learning about your background, the kinds of things that you have, your aspirations, etc. And that's pretty exciting. So my role will go back and forth, and your role will go back and forth, because my expectation is that you will be sharing what you've learned, what you're learning with others. So that comes to the point that I want to make, and I want to make this really strong. You'll be involved in online discussions because it's a course that's online, but I want it to be better than any online discussions you've ever had in other courses. I know very often professors don't get involved in those discussions. I know that many students just write stuff and they quote things that they've read and so forth, but they never really get engaged. I expect you to get very much engaged in discussions with all your classmates. I want you to challenge them. I want you to disagree with them. I want you not to be polite. I want you to be respectful, but I want those discussions to be real. And so what my expectations are is each week, by Wednesday of the week, that you'll have read the material and you'll pose a statement, and you'll answer some questions, and then by Thursday you'll start engaging in conversations with the other students. You won't be able to read what others start writing until you give your first response to the questions that I raise, but I want those discussions to be really vigorous. Now I know that after teaching here, grades are important. Everybody's concerned how I can get a grade and so forth, and they're concerned that many students have is, what can I say that will make this professor give me a high grade and so forth. I'd like to kind of go beyond that, and I'd like you to stop thinking about grades, but just think about quality writing, think about really developing arguments, and then I want you to really reflect on what you are all about, what your key issues are, and you're going to have to do some homework. You're going to have to do some searches and read materials that are even beyond materials that I've assigned for you. So I think that explains at least the approach that I'm going to take. Let me just take a quick look at my notes here. I want to make a comment about one of your first assignments. It's a little bit unusual, but I would like you to write a fictional biography of when you die, and the expectation, and my expectations, you live to be 100, and that you have a successful career. And what I would like you to do is do a fictional obituary that would talk about what you've accomplished. It'll talk about the degrees that you have received or will have received, the kinds of businesses that you've worked for, the kinds of positions you held. Essentially, what it is, it's an exercise that will help you get focused on what you're about, what your aspirations are, and what you think you need to do to achieve what you want to achieve. But what I want you to do is very carefully look at some of the materials that I've shared with you, and then I want you to look at some obituaries in the New York Times, the Boston Globe, the Wall Street Journal, Forbes magazine, etc. And I want you to put together probably maybe 600 words to 700 words describing what your aspirations are. But I want it to be just in the same kind of format that you see in the Times, for example. And I think it's a fun exercise, and it really does give you a chance to really think about what you're about. It's fictional, obviously, and so anyway, so I want that to be pleasant. Now, I'm trying to think. I just want to take a quick look here. I think I've covered most of the topics here. There is one book that I'll recommend to you, but I'm not going to have you do it as a required book. But it's a book about. It's a book called You Are the Message. It's by Roger Ailes, who's infamous at the moment for the last couple of years. He's developed Fox News. But Roger Ailes has a brilliant book, and it's called You Are the Message. And it's about what his observations were in working with people and how to present their message. And one of the things that you'll hear me talk about later is how important personal branding is. Essentially, personal branding is your story. And how you tell that story is very important. And you are the message. And how you tell it, how you act, what you do, everything kind of contributes to that story. So that's a book I'd highly recommend. And I'm just taking a look here. My syllabus is pretty detailed. I go into what my expectations are. You'll see online this week, you'll see the requirements for the first 2 weeks. I'll be updating that as we move along, so you always have to see what you're doing over the next 2 weeks each time. It's pretty clear. Now, let me just conclude with this. I have written to you several weeks ago asking that you write to me and tell me when you're available this week, coming week, 2 or 3 times, when you'll be available in a 30-minute period to talk to me by phone. I want to talk to everyone, virtually to interview you and find out about you and what your aspirations are in about a 30-minute conversation this week. That's very important. It's also very important that you go online in the next couple days and you do a video introduction of yourself to the class. Some of you probably have had classes with some of the others in the class. I think we've got about 9 people in the class, which is a really good number. I really look forward to it. And by the way, this is probably unusual for people teaching online, but the best way to reach me is through a text message. And feel free to send me a text message at any hour of the day or night. I don't respond to text messages during the middle of the night, but I'll get them in the morning. But I'll get back to you pretty quickly, and my record so far has been about 100%. I don't fool around. It doesn't take me days to get back to you. And if you have any questions, contact me that way. It's the fastest way to reach me. You can also send me an email and so forth. And I think the rest of it is clearly written. And if there's one thing that I want you to remember, that really is really a strong point for the course, based on my 8 or 10 minutes here, is to take seriously the work that the books that I've asked you to read, particularly writing on the wall, because what happened in the 1st century, in the 2nd century, 3rd century, what happened during the Renaissance period, what happened during the technology revolution, industrial revolution in the 19th century, and what's happening today with regard to the technology that's driving communication. All those things are related and they're important. And so anyway, but I do want the course to be a lot of fun. I want my purpose here as a teacher is to help you tell your story, help you strengthen your brand, help you succeed. I want you to succeed. I'm here to help. So feel free to contact me. Use my services. I'm easy to get a hold of. And I look forward to talking to you, to getting to know you. And I'm excited about your getting to know some of your fellow students. And